Next up on our agenda is Lowman facility update and board discussion. And Kevin, you want to give us a brief synopsis of where we are with finalizing what actually got started out there?
Yeah, so I had Terry Tucker go up and take a look. And just to clarify, I think it was Kevin asked the question about how we did.
How you bid?
Contracted
Yeah,
to do the work.
right.
So my response was pretty generic. So just to clarify, so Centre Waterworks, which is Terry's company, they're actually contracted by the school to do sewer and water work. So they're issued a contract to it goes through the Department of Health. They send out paperwork, we fill it out. So Terry signs it, the superintendent signs it, and that's why he took care of the septics and that kind of stuff. So I had him go up and take a look, and he did say that there was work that needed to be completed that they didn't see at the time, because by the time they finished, there was snow on the ground. So he did say that he missed some. He was happy to go up and do labour for free, but we are going to have to buy gravel turf to go over the grey water. I can't remember what the term is.
The drain field?
The drainage field to finish off the drainage fields, and he has provided a quote for that. He also took a look at the septic, and he admits that the inflow pipe for that septic tank is too high, and again that was because they were gauging it with the snow on the ground, so that needs to be cut down. But he did make the comment that the RV placement where it is isn't where the proposed placement for that RV was to be. So he did provide a quote to move that septic line. He's going to have to dig it out. All in all, with gravel and the septic changes, it came in at just over $10,000 to get all that completed. Which, because it's over $5,000, would have to go to you guys for approval.
Okay, thank you for that. So I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Morgan to get some history on this, how this process got started and everything. And there was multiple discussions I remember back then, and the board did vote to approve putting in the connection points and all that for this facility. And it was just talked about as a pad. So I think what we did with the road mix was the pad to put the unit on. Beyond that, Mr. Morgan had some bids for steel building, various things, but the discussion never went further than that on the board. There was no vote made on it. So we're at this point right now where we need to decide where we want to go as a board on this facility and how much we want to continue on. So I'm open to that for discussion because it's right on my agenda.
Well, I was curious what the current situation is up there, just because we heard some comments in the last meeting about the status of the construction and things like that, so I wanted to take a look at it. So I drove up last Sunday and pulled up, and the gate was closed, it was false locked, so went through and I walked around the grounds there. Just, to me, it doesn't seem very welcoming as a community space to have the gate shut, and it felt more like a residence than anything.
Okay.
And I guess just overall, I don't like the idea of the school providing housing on site. I just feel like it takes away from the community part of it, and I can see where there's a lot of opportunities for unforeseen things to happen, whether there's pets there, whether there's other family members there, or the list goes on and on. But and I don't think it's a good it might work for one person to have to live in an RV on site, but it might not work for everybody. So I feel like it's a temporary fix and not something that's a permanent fix down the road for future teachers there. I also think it's a slippery slope. If you provide it for one teacher, what do you provide for the others? So I guess in my mind, I know those decisions were made before my time, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't like the idea of providing this kind of facilities on site in school grounds.
I agree with Ken. I remember a while ago thinking, oh yeah, we got to provide places for teachers to live because it's gotten so expensive to be in Garden Valley or Lowman. But having heard the comments last time, these are the things that I would like. I just thought, man, if every teacher had this forum to say, hey, I want this, this, and this, I think it's like what Ken said, it's a slippery slope of when do we stop. And I'm thrilled about the idea of spending $25 grand, even though I understand that the regular Lowman School needed to benefit from that septic getting fixed, but then dumping another 10 into it, that's like, it's a lot of money. On a project that wasn't done well, not because they didn't do a good job, just because of the timing and the hustle. It's a bummer to go back and spend $10,000, half as much, to move the pipe and to finish some gravel. I just wonder if we could, at this point, get another bid of, what's it going to cost. My neighbor did it this week, to have him just learn how the septic system works, because he's just doing it in my driveway. And, I wonder what it would cost to have Severance take up some loads of gravel and get somebody to spread it and call it good.
I mean, it looked like the drain field part was complete, and I know it was late in the year, so it would have been difficult to bring in the topsoil and finish it off the way that it needs to be. And I'm all for completing the project as far as that work that's already been done. But as far as adding to it or building a shelter, I have a hard time justifying it.
Yeah, we're looking at probably 50,000 if we were going to put up a steel structure. There's other ways to do it too. But a steel structure with a concrete pad, it's pretty pricey. And utilization is a big deal too, right? If this particular teacher isn't up there in 2 years, to your point, I think, and there's another teacher that comes around and they don't need that, you have a pretty expensive proposition there.
I mean, if it was a nice pole barn and it's a pavilion, then yeah, sure, if it's something the community can use there, you can put some picnic tables, or the teachers can use it for outdoor activities and things like that. That's
what
fine.
do you want to do if the teacher wants to live in there with their RV?
Well, then it doesn't work.
That's no pavilion for you.
Right.
Yeah, it creates a lot of difficulties. So, I mean, there's no action item on this, guys. It's just discussion. I haven't heard from Clay yet.
I was gonna say, this is kind of a special situation moment where I would like to continue to get at least a price on a building and see what it is.
Pole barn or building?
Probably both. That's an option. But I think there is a bigger discussion here on what we should allow to get, or we're willing to give up. Right.
I've seen where teachers have come to the valley here and they're looking for housing, and I've seen where a lot of people, there's kind of a list here at the school of people that have offered rentals and things like that, but I know there's people that reserve it just for a teacher. They want to have affordable housing for teachers. And I think we should research that as well. I see so many summer homes up there where folks are there just for the summertime and then they're gone. And maybe those cabins don't need to be advertised. Maybe somebody has something that can be offered up as a rental for a teacher. I guess I would like to look into those opportunities first.
Well, I want to address this closed gate thing too. I don't know how this came about, but any school I've ever been to, the community was always welcome to go into that school. The kids were allowed to use the playground. And I know that you said it wasn't truly locked, it was dummy locked, but that could make it prohibitive for people to say, oh, I'm going to go enjoy the facility here. I think our schools should be open. I'm not sure why that ended up happening. I mean, I guess we could probably reach out to that person at that facility to find out why that's happening, but I would prefer our facilities were open to the public.
Yeah, I come down here in the summertime. Well, I taught every one of our kids how to ride a bike out here in the park. You know, so we utilized it. I come down and see the kids playing basketball out here in the summer. Doesn't bother me. I think that's part of making our school a community place.
Okay.
I do agree. Somebody said, I don't know. But yes, the community definitely needs access.
Okay, so for right now, unless anybody has any more, I think that's our update where we need to discuss this in public forum. Okay, next on our list. Chairman may interrupt or terminate the individual statement when it's too likely personal, directed, abusive, obscene, repetitive, or irrelevant. A person wishing to speak on the agenda item should fill out a request to appear for the board form 4105 and submit it to the board clerk before the meeting begins. These forms will be available on the signing desk and GBSD.net policy 4105F. I do have one here from Ronnie Gilbertson, and it's regarding the Lowman RV camp. And you have 3 minutes, Ronnie.
Good morning, or good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Ronnie Gilbertson, and I am the Lowman School teacher. I emailed the clerk of the board to speak about the Lowman RV shelter and pad. Through miscommunication or intentional misconstruction, the school administration did not honor the request. I will briefly explain the current situation. The facilities director has not completed the project as directed by the board. As of this meeting, there has been no progress on the project since last winter. At this time, all improvements, repairs, and even basic maintenance of the Lowman grounds has not been completed unless I personally perform the task or force the administration to be involved. There is a repeated pattern of not completing work, cost overruns, and intentional negligence. Because of the mismanagement, the last project completed by the administration was an exorbitant $35,000 septic project, which was installed during the last week of November, which resulted in extensive damage to property. To restore the Lowman, there is a need for topsoil, filled dirt, fixing the cut sprinkler system, extensive removal of rocks, and reseeding of the field, none of which has been completed or even scheduled to the best of my knowledge after repeated continued requests. Choosing the right manager for the job is key to preventing cost overruns and overwhelming project failures. To address these issues, I am requesting that the school board consider the following. 1, the Lowman RV shelter and cement pad needs to be reassigned to a board member or a Lowman community member that is vested in the success of the Lowman Elementary. 2, a budget needs to be determined for an RV shelter and cement pad, including utilities with a completion date of August 1 for the safety of the students and weather restrictions. Additionally, the project needs a request for proposal to ensure a competitive bidding process. 3, due to the extraordinary events of this last year, resulting in the turnover of administration and a toxic workplace, I would encourage the board to outsource human resources. This will help with the challenges of the next year, specifically performance management, evaluations, recruitment, onboarding, and legal compliance. These topics must be addressed as the current HR representative has a serious conflict of interest while being married to administration. 4, while I hope to remain in Lowman until retirement, This RV is crucial for the drawing potential candidates to fill the future teaching vacancies at Lowman. I trust the board and the community to share my concerns about this project and the implications for the Lowman community for the future. 5, most importantly, in order to avoid repeated failures from the previous year, I'm requesting a decision from the board regarding the Lowman property by May 30th, which is the last day of the school year. I urge you to consider this request and amend the agenda or schedule an executive session to openly discuss these concerns. Together, we can ensure this project is completed efficiently and effectively, benefiting the entire school district. Are there any questions?
Just the very last sentence was have an executive session to talk about these things. Why would we do an executive session?
I am free to open comments. I just understand that usually that's where a lot of pertinent information and emails are shared instead of out in public information.
Okay, so thanks, Ryan. So we can discuss this after a little bit, but I appreciate your input. We're not supposed to really dialogue back and forth. So, but Eric wasn't here, and Ken wasn't here. I think Clay was here. Part of this, what had happened last fall. The project was approved last April. We just kind of thought it was ago, and then at the last minute, calls got made, and we found out that this project wasn't moving forward. So myself and another board member, Clay got involved, and Ian got involved. We had a bunch of people from the community kind of got involved, and we got it done, but it was at the 11th hour. And Ronnie's not kidding, I was up there in, was that in January or December? The ground
End of
was
December.
frozen solid to finally be able to put a propane tank in for it because she couldn't get her RV place, basically. So, yeah. So what we really need to work on this year is this needs to be completed this summer. Right? It's got to be 100% done. It's got to be livable, and the reason we did this originally was we knew it was going to be hard to attract teachers up to them. We wanted to provide a space for them that they had this, and this was well before Lowman was up there when we approved this. It was to provide a spot for a teacher on the campus because we knew it was going to be a hard spot. So I still think as a board we need to get this directed through and get this finished properly. And we should do competitive bids. I mean, that should be, isn't that part of the
Over 50,000.
over 50,000. Okay, that makes sense. We should probably do something.
Especially public funds. I've got at least 3 bids.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do it, overhead, you might as well put one pad on that. Just like all the cement pad on overhead.
Yeah, and so
Stays.
we had some discussion about the cement pad and more that you could do a compacted,
Well, if you remember when I brought it up, it was gonna be over 2 fiscals,
right?
the last fiscal and this fiscal. And so,
And it's not like we're having to raise extra money for this. Lowman pays for itself. This is coming out of the Lowman funds, essentially. So we got to get some things. So we will discuss this one. We'll have some motions to follow. I'm sure.
Can I ask you a question?
Would we have to discuss it by May 3rd, by next week?
No, we just got to make sure it's stuff. It'll get done.
But you're asking,
I'm just asking so that I know what my future holds and the fact that, you know, it's been a past track record of not completing what was supposed to be done. And so basically I will not live up there for another winter without time covered. And good luck finding a certified teacher to teach up there because that was the problem that we had when they accepted me in August.
Yeah.
I was just trying to remember, we had plans of different structures, but I don't recall what.
So,
Did we ever decide on what? I just don't.
well, Mr. Morgan brought that up. He had a bunch of skill building plans and everything like that originally. And we were in that discussion at that time as to whether we wanted to go to full blown pad and this big steel building. And so we do have on our, we still got to go back and executive session, so if you have other things for personnel, we can discuss this a little bit more. Maybe we can ask Mr. Morris to refresh our memories on
Yeah,
that.
that is.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember the meeting, actually. I thought this was way further.
Yeah.
Well, that was my impression, that the whole thing was flying.
It was started before you got here.
Right,
Yes.
and then when I took over, it was going to be septic, the electrical,
Yeah.
have a path right there, not
Yeah.
just some hard to get it done with this side, and then we'll do cement and everything else on two pistons.
Right, that was what we broke it up into. We just didn't finalize, I think, on what kind of roof we were going to do.
Right.
We just need a motion to go further than this. The motion that was originally sent was a pad and then electric, sewer, water. So that first step, so
So that was a 10.
I
No.
don't know if
Well,
it's
There's some finished work to be done. It was really late in the year. I mean, everybody was scrambling to get this buttoned up. And you can see from the pictures that it never got finished. And it was,
And there's lots of problems. I know Clay can speak to this. The septic, if you look at one of those pictures, you can see a hose going in there. I've accrued lots of expenses being up there, including a macerator pump, because I can't pump directly into that clean out. It is actually 30 feet away from the electrical, which Clay knows. How close is your septic at your RV park? It's right there. Every RV park that I've ever been at, it is your electrical, it is your water, and it is your septic. And I've had to pay for a 50-foot heated hose over the winter just to have running water because it's not right. You know, and if you look at the rocks around there, like I said, it's been hard. It's been really difficult due to the failure of this project.
well, I can assure you, Ryan, that this project was important to the board at the time, and it still is. And it's important to the people of Lowman that we have a teacher up there. And we want to get this done, so we'll put a task person on this project.
It'd be great, especially somebody that knows how RFPs work or how to even like ask for it. Because that's been the confusion is everybody in the Lowman committee is like, what is this RV being do there? You know, and then they got to know me and I have great support from Lowman and stuff, but they're still kind of like, when they saw that, you know, their field was being dug up, you know, over Thanksgiving, I had no notice of that. You know, I come home from New York City and I'm like, what is this? And as you can see, it's still torn up. You know, I've got the fire department showing up there tomorrow, you know, and stuff to do fire protection with kids. And here we sit, and I don't know what to tell them. And that's why I guess I'm saying if you could please get an answer by May 30th. I'm not trying to force your hand, but what I don't want to see is what happened last year, which is it didn't get done.
And you can provide us with a detailed list, because I don't want to let you go off course and miss things. Can you provide, like, I know you went over some things, but can
Yeah,
you
like,
provide
can you email us that
a
as
bullet
well?
pointed list of everything that's not done, hasn't been done, that's done wrong, just so we don't miss anything picking this back up?
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to, and like I said, any communication that I've had via emails
Okay.
with either Pat or Tennessee, I'm more than happy to provide that.
Can you email all of us that bullet pointed list? Just take your time and go over it.
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty much the thing we just read.
Yeah.
Just email it to us as well, so we don't.
Oh, there's more. Yeah, there's more that was promised to the Lowman community at the last levy that hasn't been completed. You know, like the lights have been on there, and there was a whole list that was left by Dave of things that should have been completed at Lowman that were not completed.
Just put it all in an email, shoot it over. Okay,
Sounds
so.
wonderful.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
Hey, Kevin, I got a follow-up question on this. You said that one of our contractors is going to come back to finish that up. Is that cost included in the last year's thing, or is this over and above? Is the cost of this over and above last year?
No, it's part
It's part of it.
Thank you.
And that's my question too. When we have projects like this,
They should be bid for completion. Right. You bid.
and how do we advertise them? Like, is it just go out and negotiate something? Like, do we have kind of a contract? Is there like a statement of work saying this is
this is what we want completed, this is the size of it, here's the quantities, we're gonna pay you by. I mean, is there something that has deadlines for when it has to be done, or how it's supposed to be done?
No, how do we put
It's
this
like
in?
Terry Tucker did it's like $35,000 of work. It's not done right, apparently, right?
It's not finished.
It's not complete. And so how did he get the job versus were there two or three other?
Terry's always done our sewer work.
Okay, so we just went to the person that normally would. Okay.
So I think what Kevin Ken is asking is, do we have a formatted procedure to put out bids?
Yes.
Or do we just pick up the phone and call someone?
No, there is a procedure for putting out bids, depending on the
The
amount.
size of it, right? Okay.
It's like the shelter, say, like, you write up what size the shelter is, kind of give them an idea what it's gonna look like, how much solo, I mean, obviously.
So this one was slightly different, because obviously the bid was for pad and a septic for an RV. But when they started digging, they found that the septic for the school was inadequate.
Yeah.
So then the price obviously skyrocketed because we had to get a second septic tank. And that's, the size of that septic tank was dictated by the state. And it had to be a 1,000-gallon tank. And that's why the price increased. So
It looks like they probably have the increase in
Oh, I'm sure. Like, I see how those projects, like, whenever you're doing a retrofit, you start doing some electrical work, and then you find another part that doesn't need code, like, one thing leads to another. But I was just curious, like, in general, how we get the quotes, how we specify exactly what we need, if there's any warranty associated with it, all that stuff.
Good question.
I'd like to speak to the septic tank. There was a lot of frustration in the fact that there was never a site map done and they didn't know where they were going with it. It was the end of November. They knew that the tank had failed and that the drain field had failed. So it needed to be replaced. My understanding was, according to Terry Tucker, is that it should have been done 2 or 3 years ago, and the price doubled because of the fact of COVID and supply issues and just the cost of doing business.
Yep.
So.
Sounds familiar. All right, next
Thanks,
one.
Ronnie.
Okay, on to,
So moving on to new business item number 2, do I have a motion to discuss and possibly approve improvements to Lowman campus? Pat Goff and Kevin Hennessy to present.
want me to take the lead on that one?
Sure. Madam Chair, I move that we discuss and possibly approve improvements to the Lowman School campus.
Okay, do I have a second?
Madam Chair, I'll second.
Okay. All right, the floor is all yours. Huh? All in favor?
Aye.
can we open this to discussion?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
opened it for
The
discussion.
motion was discuss and possibly
Oh,
approve.
okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little behind the times.
Aye.
You want to eye it? Aye. Aye. Okay.
Okay,
Go
so currently, obviously, Lowman School, finding teachers to teach at Lowman School is difficult due to the housing situation. There was a year or so ago, possibly longer, a project looking at putting in some kind of pad for an RV for a teacher that we had at the time. We are looking to resurrect that project and possibly put it in through stages for budgetary reasons. Currently looking at utilities, so we're looking at water, sewage and electric, going in as soon as possible. The next stage would be some form of pad, be it dirt or concrete, and then the third stage of that would be some kind of roof, obviously to ward off the harsh weather that they get up in Lowman. The plan would then be to have that as a permanent fixture at Lowman School for any staff who would potentially want to live on the campus rather than trying to find housing where the situation is scarce. That's how we'd like to move forward. I know that I believe Mr. Morgan's been looking at quotes from R&M Steel for the roof. We've had quotes in for the concrete pad, power, electric and sewer. The current situation is the county originally stated that we could use possibly a 250 gallon or a 500 gallon tank. They will absolutely not allow us to tie into the current septic that is on site. So whatever happens, it has to be a new tank. I then spoke to Jerry Davis over at County. He's now saying the minimum they will allow us to put in is a 900 gallon tank. We have the permit that's been agreed to go ahead. Terry Tucker's been on site. He's happy to use the old test hole that was dug originally, so we don't have to have a test hole dug. We were told originally that the permit was going to be $177. Terry Tucker basically granted us a favour, and he did that for just $450, I believe it was. So that permit was granted. I'm still waiting for that permit to come through. Electric is ready to go. Idaho Power says they can have people on site Friday to turn all the electric on. As soon as Terry Tucker has his permit number from the permit, he can get going on sewage and water. That's currently where we're at with the project.
Okay. And just for clarification purposes, I did pull the minutes where this was approved back in May 10th, 2022. So it was by you two.
Right. And
George.
other board members.
Yeah, but I've got you two like on here,
Yes.
and so I just wanted, just for clarification for the community, that this had been already approved prior to our scenario today
Right, yeah.
Right.
So
for the sewer, water, and electric.
it was approved, but we never truly budgeted for it yet, right? It's not in our budget.
Correct. It wasn't budgeted for this fiscal year.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
So our intention is to get the bare minimum in, like you said, the first stage in this year, and then we'll budget for next year.
Correct.
The pad and the roof.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So just for clarity where I'm coming from, my understanding was that the septic system that is there, being so old, got grandfathered in. However, because it's grandfathered in, Central District Health will not allow us to tie into it with any other new pipe or in any way, shape or form.
Correct.
The septic system there is good, there's no problem with it. And therefore we have to go with the new septic. When we approved it, it was, hey, let's put up a pad over there with a cover, hook up to the septic, hook up to the electrical.
Right.
And it's, easy fix. Once we started to try to do that, we were told we can't hook up into the septic and we needed a new electrical panel. So in order to go forward with the project, that needed to be done. And so those are changes. And for me, where I'm coming from is we approved something, right? But now things have changed. Because things have changed, because we're putting in a new septic, new tanks, new drain field, and new power coming in, whatever. Why are we going with the same old project? Why do you put a little chintzy little building up now with this Cadillac of utilities?
So Idaho Power is requiring us to put a meter in? A new meter, they're gonna pull new service to it?
Yes.
Correct.
And a new meter?
Correct.
Thank you.
They won't let us pull from the existing, okay.
Right?
That sounds like 10 grand.
Yes, so what are the costs
Yeah.
at this point with what you're proposing?
So
I don't.
the electrical, the actual new equipment came in at just over $8,000. I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head. And for Idaho Power, To go in, connect your service and turn it on is $2,000.
So 10K.
10K, yeah.
What about for septic and water?
So septic, because we haven't had the permit through yet, I haven't looked at the cost of septic tank, but the $8,000 for the electric piece also includes Terry Tucker's groundwork for the septic.
Like the digging?
Correct.
Okay, just not the actual metal septic going in?
Correct.
Okay.
Rough estimate for a 9,000 gallon tank is about $1,000. That's a very rough estimate.
And then to bring water in?
So we can tie into the current well.
Okay.
Terry believes that he can just sleeve what is currently there, which would just be PVC piping, until he digs up for the septic and channels all in the water. He can't give me a solid, this is what it's going to need, but he believes he can just sleeve what's already there, which would save costs.
So what would we allocate
So we're
for
looking
that?
like 20 grand, probably.
Yeah.
20, okay.
To be conservative, yeah.
So I recall, I do not know if it was a board meeting, when we were talking about it this year, I was thinking the number was around 30. But that would have
That was
included
with
a
the-
structure and a roof, so are we within the ballpark there?
So that depends on the estimates that have come through for the roof, because the original roof alone, I believe, was 27.
Okay.
Concrete pad, you're probably looking, if you were to go, dimensions were 30 by 50,
That's what, yeah, I think
I
it was
believe
30
it
by
was,
50.
was about 13,000. And that's unfinished
Mm-hmm.
concrete, so that's just the pad. After that, you need weatherproofing and all that kind of stuff, which is why we figured if we did essentials this year and then budgeted for the bigger pieces next year, we wouldn't take the financial impact this year.
So 15K, let's say 15K for concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more likely. And then, what did you say? What did you say?
27, 30,000 say for the,
So 30K for the pole barn,
mhm,
call it whatever. And then another 20K
utilities.
utilities.
Phase 1, yeah.
Phase 1, okay, so 30, 40, 50, 65,000. So total project cost of 65,000.
So, but is everybody, I mean, the reason we're doing this is because we need to attract quality people that can live up in Lowman to
Correct.
teach at this school, right?
Correct.
I mean, the alternative is, then we shut the school down, which everybody
Loses us
says we
money.
can't do this.
No, because it loses us money for the school.
I understand, yeah. So,
Well, and, yeah, and try to pass a levy. I mean, they had a guy who,
I see
previous
what you're saying,
superintendent,
yeah.
said, we don't need to worry about
Right.
Lowman.
Because
And
there's
the
a
guy
lot of
rented out 2
voters,
Greyhound buses and they came down here and voted against the
there's a
levy.
lot of voters up there, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
it wouldn't
think,
be conducive and we
Yeah.
get money from the state, so, for that, to cover that school.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
cost the school anything,
Correct.
actually makes us money.
Right, but it is gonna be, do we have money in our maintenance, construction budget to do this year?
I mean, we rolled over about 170.
Right,
So we do have money in that, if you guys choose to do it. We have money to get it all done.
yeah,
I just don't want anybody thinking that, cause I've already heard it, well, why are we doing this for Ronnie?
right, yeah. No, we've
Ronnie
already
wasn't
had
even the
this.
teacher up there when this thing was decided to get it done, so.
yeah,
This is not being done by any specific person, this is being done for the next 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 years for the teacher to go up there.
right, and
so-
then that's why I printed this off too,
Right.
because this was discussed in 2022.
Yeah, we already
You
had
can
the
make that
intention
part
to
of the
do
minutes.
this.
Can just stick that in as part of the minutes,
Yeah,
or referring to
Well, and
that.
to have a little bit bigger place up there like that, and if it was completely concealed and covered,
Yeah,
it would be a great place in the winter time for the kids to be able to play, cause you really can't do much in 5 to 7 feet of snow on a playground. So it'd actually be someplace they can throw an internal basket up there or whatever and shoot some basketball or whatever in that area, just instead of being cooped up in a one-room schoolhouse. So,
okay, so,
So,
okay, go ahead, Morris.
okay, so because of those changes, what I was thinking is, why don't we just, instead of putting up an RV cover, just build a building big enough that can be adapted for future use. Either accommodating teacher, storage, we've got a storage issue up there, we need firewood up there. The mower, I mean, we've got those other little buildings to store things. The school needs a little bit more storage area. So
you're not talking an enclosed building, right? You're talking a structure, a roof structure. Because you can't,
I'm talking, okay, so what I'm talking about is
This.
what I've done since I heard that we need to we need to put in brand new utilities.
okay.
So I went to R&M Steel and I've got 4 quotes for 4 different options.
Right.
And that is what is before you now. What was great about this company is I called them Monday, Tuesday they had the drawings ready. I went and saw them Tuesday. They emailed me the quote this morning. There is no, anyway, I do not, yeah.
So I've got
Okay.
2 different ones.
So you got 4 different ones.
Right.
Right, so top right hand corner, it says job name, roof only, 30 by 60.
Got it?
Right? And that's the price. To get the engineering for the slab, there's a price down at the bottom, it says add 1,500 and 150.
Okay.
Right? The second one is roof only, 30 by 70.
Yeah.
Which means that the sides are not enclosed, it's just the roof. And that's 39,350. The third one is 30 by 70, partially enclosed. They were in order, so,
Yeah, I got it right here.
okay, partially enclosed, which means that the sides are enclosed, but I think the ends are open so that we can get the camper in and out. That's 45.9. And then the fourth quote is 30 by 70, fully enclosed for 65. And so what I'm saying is, if we're going to pour the pad, then can we get it engineered for one of these for the future? Even if we decide we're never going to do with it, we just cut the bolts off and the pad is there, because we're going to pour a pad anyway.
Right.
The owner of the company sat down with me yesterday for this, and the lady I spoke to this morning who deals with their school things said that he's prepared to make a donation, because when I explained to them why I'm in this situation, why we need this done now, and then that is why they got it so quickly, I let them know there's not enough budget for this year. He has donated buildings to other schools before. He's not given me a number because we haven't chosen anything or decided to do anything. I think, and this is how I think we can raise at least 50% of this building in the community.
Which building? Out of the 4 you talked
Whichever
about?
one we choose. The 30 by 70 building, the enclosed structure is 30 by 60, and there is a 10-foot porch on the one side. So, I do not know if you can approve something conditionally.
With the construction of this building, are they requiring that the J-bolts be put in the concrete ahead of time?
I believe so.
That's the same thing we did
This
with our
type.
hangar at a 4,800 square foot
Right.
hangar.
You can't redhead them in later.
No, they don't like it
Because-
that way.
Right.
So, because of Idaho Department of Building Safety,
Right, I get it, yeah. Okay.
I had originally called them, asking them if they have a metal building laying on their property. Because I had one on my property and it was moved a month ago. But what they explained to me is because it's Lowman, it needs to be rated for the snow. So they can't take one of their buildings that they wanted to stick in Emmett and say, hey, here's a building over here, you can have it for this price. It needed to be rated. This is rated, this will pass Idaho Department of Building Safety. This will be rated for insulation, load, wind, whatever. This is it.
And in the past, when I've worked with R&M Steel, the 2 projects, I haven't had the second one done yet, but we had a hangar, 4,800 square foot hangar. We paid for the pad, we paid for them to engineer the J-bolts to be put underneath there and where everything was done. They donated all the metal. So it was like $54,000 worth of metal. And then we just had to make sure we put it up and got it all installed, and then we had to put in the door. And it'd be the same way, I'm thinking, if he ever wanted to do it. Our engineering building's gonna be done, and he's putting in both doors. We have to put in the slider door and 5 windows, but he's donating $33,000 for the metal. So, I mean, it's, this price here of 65 could be as low as 15.
But we
So-
don't know.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
So, and that, yes, it's, yeah, like Moore said, it's kinda like, yeah, but we can possibly raise half of it within the community.
Right. So all we really have to approve today is whether we're gonna pour a slab and put in J-bolts in the slab, right? We don't have to approve the building.
No, we approve a slab for
We'll handle that,
possibly one of these buildings, like, we could say we're gonna go with this size slab, and then that's what we do.
We don't have to pour a slab this year.
No.
We could just do a compacted.
Correct.
But then, yeah, okay.
Yeah, compacted earth slab,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
And I think Terry Tucker had even said that he had some mix or something,
Yep.
that he
said
could
do
compact
that.
down there.
Correct.
Might be a little bit extra, but it would be, I wouldn't imagine it's over $2 or $3 grand.
No.
To compact it down and get a pad there, and then we could hook everything up. We're just gonna have to make sure somebody gets over there. Every day it snows, they're gonna have to shovel off that roof for her, just to make sure.
Yeah, under.
Of the camper. Which is less expensive than building a big huge cover, but we still have to, we still wanna look in the future to build that.
Right, we're pretty late in the year anyway.
Yeah, I feel like snow's gonna start flying up there soon to start a big building project, right?
Yeah, and no, this is not, actually, I didn't know. I said, okay, give me the whole gamut, and they said, look, in 4 to 5 weeks, we can have the metal up there.
Right.
So 4 to 5 weeks brings us to the beginning of December. We all know what that looks like up there, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have somebody who is on board to help shovel for this winter for her?
No, because there are a few people up there we can speak to.
Okay.
The guy that plows, we can speak to the guy that plows. But the person that goes up there has to know what they're doing. You can't get up on it, can't put the ladder up there, get up and walk around that roof. You cannot do that.
There's gotta be a local person up there that shovels roofs, like one of the Felty boys, or not Felty, the other, Overfields? You know what I mean?
Overleys.
Overleys?
Somebody.
No, Overleys' kids are all married and out of the house.
Yeah. What about,
Brandon is still up there, but he works full time.
I mean, there's gotta be somebody up there that shovels roofs, because a lot of those
They are.
places that were built up there got roofs like this on them.
There are guys that shovel, but the person we need needs to go up there. If there is a certain amount of snow, every time it snows, you have to go up there and do this roof.
So we could contract somebody to do that, though.
Right, so possibly the guy that plows,
Yeah.
because he's gonna plow anyway. But all I'm saying is that you cannot have a guy up there that's gonna damage the roof. You get any guy or the cheapest guy, and they don't know what they're doing or they don't care. And then it just causes an issue. So I'm saying we have to be very careful with whom we ask.
We'll leave it up to our director over here.
I've made a note to find somebody.
Okay.
Because we're all in agreement, just clarification that we can't do like a
We're not,
building
no.
before December, right? Okay.
No.
So
And
then
if-
we have to
if-
like make sure we're taking care of what we can now, setting Ronnie up for success.
Right.
Having the wood, having somebody shovel, having somebody plow. Do we wanna try to do the concrete pad now?
No, I don't think so.
I probably would not.
No.
They're gonna have to do heated blankets, and it's too late. Yeah.
Because
Well,
it's
my
not,
husband does that, so like I could probably be like, hey, we're in a jam. No,
No.
okay,
I don't think so. I think we
Okay.
did
Yeah,
a compacted pad.
right.
okay.
I think getting getting the utilities in is
Yeah.
gonna be a big thing and
Okay.
That was
more
my
important than the
initial.
pad.
Phase 1 this side of the winter,
Yeah.
phase 2 in the springtime, which would be the pad,
Right.
engineering, May, June time sometime, and then on the next fiscal, budget out for whatever building we want.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that puts us into the next money,
Okay.
so.
So, do we need to approve anything now, knowing that that has been approved? Do we just go with what was agreed and approved?
I don't think so.
think it's already been approved. I can read it out loud just for clarification
just
for
read that.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. It was on page 4 and it's item J, discuss and possibly approve the construction of an RV pad on the Lowman property to include water, septic, electricity hookups to be used by the Lowman School personnel. Trustee George Simpson motioned and trustee Morris Morgan second to approve the construction of the RV pad on the Lowman School property to include water, septic, electricity hookups to be used by Lowman School personnel. Discussion occurred with 3 ayes. The motion passed unanimously.
So the concrete has been approved.
It
The pad.
didn't say that.
All I heard was.
Does it say pad?
Water septic.
And a pad.
And the
It
pad,
didn't say concrete.
but the pad could be hard pan, it can't be,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can, I mean, literally, we could actually say that's considered a pad. We can put cement, but I just wouldn't pour it this side of winter, that's personally, I wouldn't do it.
No, the way I
If it snows on it, it's not good. So,
And the way I
yeah.
interpreted that in that meeting was that we're gonna put a compacted DG or road mix pad there, just something that would be stable for a trailer, obviously, right?
Like what's beeping?
So, I think we can use
We
that.
can use that, yes.
Approval.
Yeah.
It sounds right.
It's legit. There's money in the construction or saving funds.
Nope,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Well then.
Yeah, and that will include the pad that we're talking about for this year.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Thank you, Kim.
So do we need an actual motion then on this
No.
approval?
No.
So do we have to, it's already approved, so we're just gonna carry on with what we already approved.
Yeah, or you could
Right.
ask for the
just
motion
discussed it.
after discussion and you can ask for it. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it.
I'm not. Discussion over.
Okay, discussion over. It had been previously approved. We're moving forward
Yeah.
with the minutes from Tuesday, May 10th, 2022, to begin the water, septic, and electric, and an RV pad with compacted road mix. Okay, moving on, item number 3.
Thank you. The other thing is, the pad, is it gonna be concrete?
This is just a dirt pad at this point. We
Okay.
could,
All right, no,
yeah,
just,
we could go concrete and cover, but I didn't go down that road. This is just the bare minimum to have a pad. And that's why I'm bringing it up. I mean, I want your input, discussion, you know. I'm looking for options and alternatives to help.
my fear is if the teacher is living in Garden Valley and coming up here for part of the time, and paying for this, so the teacher will be paying for this rental over here, the pad, and down in Garden Valley.
This particular teacher would be, they would be living in their RV up here.
Wintertime?
Yes.
I got a lot of people that do it. It works if you do it right.
Can't afford houses.
Gotta have a four-season RV, that's for sure.
My questions and what I'm trying to think about is considering the individual. I mean, I wouldn't be personally. That's why I'm asking. Does this person want to do it? Does this, all those questions, because, man, it's going to be tough.
Another thing to think about down the road, there are school systems that own mobile homes, that own small homes that they rent to their faculty and staff, okay? Having septic and water and electricity installed gives us the opportunity at some point to, if we had the money, to purchase a mobile home, with a snow roof, obviously, to be there, that could be rented. It opens the door for some viable alternatives down the road. But this was an immediate need, that a teacher expressed a desire to come up here, needed an RV pad, and I explored it to see what it would cost us.
Okay. Do you know the size of the septic? And how much it can handle?
Dave is gone.
Okay, you can.
Don't quote me on this, but I think it was 3-bedroom. I'll make sure.
Yeah, just, so at least we know.
It was already looked at it as an approval.
From DEQ.
They
To
DEQ.
put septic on the property, yes.
Which means that they've looked at that.
Yeah, but I just wanted to know the septic, how big is it? But then again, we only have one teacher here, so it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I just.
They could bring a family, who knows?
It's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
Mr. Thompson, I don't know the history on this, but why do we have a school in Lowman? If we only have 4 to 5 to 7 students here? I'm sure there's a reason. Yeah.
I asked this question many, many years ago, and it's financially viable for us to have the school over here.
Okay.
A courtesy to the king.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
No,
The way the system's set up.
yes.
Okay.
I've read the email, I've read your reply.
The second one also?
No.
He did a follow-up to my replies.
No,
It was long, I realized.
If you look at this over here, I'm being honest, I did not read the
fine.
reply.
I just wanted you to know there was a second follow-up.
I do know that school districts have homes, do this, and it's something we're gonna have to look into the future, but.
I'm not trying to single out and give favors to any one teacher over another. This is about looking, we're gonna charge a market price for the rental. It's just, districts do this already because they have to provide housing.
Yeah,
and
it's almost.
It's an issue in Garden Valley. It's something that frankly we need to look at down the road on our property there in Garden Valley. Is there an opportunity to do something there? Because
our septic's not big enough already.
Well, heck, they're putting in
on
all
the back
those.
40.
They're putting on all those condos down there by Davies Bridge.
There you go.
Just kidding. Those are-
Okay.
Okay.
I move that we approve the construction of an RV pad on the Lowman School property to include water, septic, electricity hookups to be used by the Lowman School personnel.
As per the quotes we were given.
Yes.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I had another question.
You asked about concrete, I know that, so.
No, I'll let it go. Oh, yes, I do. whoever puts this in, do they need to be bonded?
Any septic system.
Licensed, insured, yes. Mhm.
Licensed, insured, and bonded, okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. Motion second, discussion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.